We've got details on games. Uh, Mario Kart 8 dropped.
Pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's stuff that we're gonna talk about. Weirdly enough.
Are you waiting for the
Hey, Zach,
noise
Zach,
that
could you
I
cue the
have
music?
on?
Zach, cue the music.
Yeah,
Zach, cue the music.
yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. This is episode number 25 for April 29th, 2015. Joining me tonight, all the way from Boston, Massachusetts, is Justin Masson. What's going on, Justin?
It is wicked sweet here. It's wicked.
Nice. I love how you just are all the way. It is after midnight already for Justin. So thank you, Justin, sir, for
no worries.
That is the dedication. That's how much Justin loves you people.
It is.
And
my coffee in the morning.
Yes. As well, joining us tonight is the person who is always an hour later than we are and gets no credit for it. Jesse Waldeck, co-editor of VGTribune.com. What's going on, Jesse?
Actually, I already had something witty in the tip of my tongue, and now I forgot. So I'll go with my backup. I said, if every time you drop a Mario Kart 8, you have to pick it up.
Yeah.
Nice, I like it.
It's true. Yeah, it's just pick up after yourself, people. That's what I try and tell my kids. And my son just says no. But I mean,
No.
when you ask your kids to do something, you know what?
Oh, you've lost the soundboard.
Oh, come on! Apparently, I can't play.
You'll never know.
You know what happens?
You
know what?
I'm going
Yeah.
to
Okay, I'm not even gonna do it. All right, let's move straight into the news and recover from that ridiculousness. So it was a little bit of a light news week this week. I did notice there was a few things that came out a little bit closer to today. There was a Xenoblade Direct we're going to get to in a minute. But first of all, now both Jesse and Justin, you're both backers of Mighty Number 9, correct?
Yes.
I am not a backer of it. I wish I had. It was something I was watching on Kickstarter and to see if it would actually meet that threshold for the Wii U, and it did. And I just didn't throw my money over to it quick enough. I really wish I had though. But I'm excited for the game, which is the important part. I'm excited.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll still be able to buy it.
I am hoping.
That's an important thing to keep in mind when Kickstarter stuff comes up.
Good.
Is you'll still be able to buy this stuff. Usually. I think sometimes people get so excited, it's like, oh, yay! And then they just, oh, wait. Oh, I guess usually it's cheaper for backers, too. But anyways, so Mighty Number 9 news came out this week. And what is the main news, Jesse, for Nintendo owners? What are the main pieces here that we need to keep in mind here?
The main pieces are a launch date has been announced. It has been pushed into September. It was originally planned to be somewhere, I think, this spring. But the reason why the delay is because it had so much DLC being packed into this thing that they are also doing a physical release.
That is awesome. I love the box art, by the way. The box art looks great.
So in the North America, it'll launch on September 15th, and then it'll launch on the 18th in everywhere else. You can still buy it digitally for $20, which does not come with DLC. Any DLC after that is paid add-on, and they haven't announced how much that is. But if you buy the retail version, retail is $30, which has all the DLCs and all the extras built in. You don't have to spend another cent.
Ooh.
But my guess is the DLC is going to cost more than $10 if you piecemeal it, so that could be the better option if you have it backed.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's as well now this is just the console, so like Xbox One, PS4, Wii U, and PC is coming. They actually also announced that the 3DS and PS Vita versions are being completely made from the ground up, and so they will not be launched then. I think they're being launched a little bit later.
Oh, see, I didn't hear about that. And then part of the DLCs, and if you're a backer, you'll get all DLC for free.
That's awesome.
So I did the backer. I did the minimum backing I needed to buy the game, which was $20. But I'm getting all my DLC for free. So I'm getting like the $30 version of the game digitally for 20.
Hmm.
And part of the DLC gets you know the see here. The base game will have English voiceovers, but part of the DLC will include Japanese and French voiceovers. In addition, with extra subtitles for Spanish, French, Italian, German, Russian, Polish, Brazilian, Portuguese. And then there's going to be something called a Ray DLC set, which is an extra level and an extra boss and an
Isn't
extra
that the
playable
girl?
character.
Is that like the girl? The like I'm looking on their website, like the pink girl
Well,
with the.
I don't know.
Is
I
that
think that
Ray?
might no. She's Call because it's
Okay.
Beck and Call.
Ah. Okay. Nice.
So I'm not sure who Ray is. I think it might be someone
See what you did there.
all new altogether. Well,
Hmm.
are you surprised? We had rock and roll with Mega Man.
Nice. I like it.
So
There is an FAQ on their website too. I just am poking around this here. This is what they say. One of the questions is, why are the handheld versions coming out after September 15th? Answer: the handheld versions were originally meant to be simpler ports, but we found that the amount of work necessary exceeded our expectations. The 3DS and Vita versions will actually require remaking the game from the ground up. Because of this development, the handheld versions will be released after the other versions. So, I don't know. I think that's probably for the best. I mean, we look at situations like, I don't know, like recently Citizens of Earth, where it was that sort of, port, and I honestly feel like that's the end result suffered, because of that. So the end result will be better on the 3D. The 3DS version will be better um, because of the delay on that. But I also feel like, um, I don't know. I feel like that's where I want to play this game too. I feel like I'd way rather play it on the 3DS than on the Wii U. That's just me, but I know most people like to play it on their big TV, but I would way rather play it on the 3DS.
well, at least with the Wii U option, we'll probably have a gamepad option to play it.
That's
So
true.
while
Yeah.
it isn't the same as the 3DS, it's still a portable-ish feeling without having to look at a big screen.
Yeah. So Justin, you said you were pretty excited for this game. Is this increasing your anticipation? How this game was
Oh.
like this game was announced like holy cow. How long ago?
Uh,
Like the
the
Kickstarter campaign was
campaign. The original estimated delivery was December of 2013, but no, that was something else. I'm sorry. The original delivery estimate was April 2015. Trying to find it. They
Oh,
changed.
so that's not that bad of a delay, really.
No, it's only 5 or 6 months. We've seen
Yeah,
worse.
that's not bad at all.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, it
They,
says
they
no. It
changed.
does say.
They
Oh yeah, never
changed.
mind.
They changed how Kickstarter's main page looks, and it kind of buries it.
Yeah. So
Um,
April 2015 is on these like if for people who backed like $40, for example, it says estimated delivery April 2015. So I mean that's like what 5 months maybe. That's not bad. Or 6 months maybe. Yeah. Anyway, considering some of the other delays we've seen on Kickstarter, that's nothing. Um, what are you thinking though, Justin? How are you feeling about this game? You're a platformer type. You like this
Yeah,
game?
so I grew up on the Mega Mans and I love them, and I'm disappointed that we haven't had a Mega Man in a while, a really good one. So I'm really excited to see this game. Like I said before, this is a game I really wish I had backed originally and I didn't. But this is a game that I think every year we have a game on our radars that we're like, hey, I wonder when that's coming out. This is one that has been quietly on my radar, and when I saw the news of whatever dates, whatever was coming out, I was very happy to consume and understand. So I'm excited for it. I will definitely purchase it. However, there are some slight concerns that I have. And it's more around the strategy of this release than it is the actual game. I think the game's going to be awesome. I am, going to buy it. But I think when we make a statement like, if you purchase it, the physical copy for $30, you get everything plus the DLC. It's already built on the game into the disc. If you purchase it digitally, you get the game and then you don't get the DLC. And this goes back to our statement before of like, how do we view DLC? Right?
Mm-hmm.
DLC is downloadable content that you get later after a game has been out for a certain amount of circulation. If the DLC already exists and you are bundling it in the release of a game, that is not DLC. That is content that should have been in a game that should have been rolled out that way. And I think,
Yeah.
unfortunately, when you do this way of this $30 for physical or $20 for digital, but then you have to purchase this other component of it, it makes me feel like it just makes me feel like this isn't a complete game in the same scope that it should be. And I have a bit of a concern in that regards. If you're a company that knows you're going to have DLC, which is fine. Like, when Mario Kart 8 came out, they probably knew they were going to have DLC in the future. They already began that build. But the initial game comes out, you play the game, whether it be physical or digital, and then 6 months later, then you roll out a DLC package. That doesn't then feel like you're getting kind of like the screws taken to you. Do you know what I mean?
That's also kind of the Kickstarter monster. You get so much money from the crowdfunding with all the extra goals in place for getting extra money. It's built-in scope creep.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just asking for this type of thing to happen. Delays with DLC that they pre-planned a DLC that's half implemented early or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I did find the dates. The funding ended October 1st, 2013. So it'll be almost 2 years since funding ended and the shipment.
Since concept and
Yeah, I feel like kind of like what you were saying before, Jesse. Like if the digital package plus all the DLC ends up being the same price as the physical copy, I feel like that's perfect. Like, I feel that way.
I agree. I think that is the best way to go. But something tells me the DLCs, if you get every piece of DLC, it'll probably cost more.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think if it is the same price, then I'm okay with the DLC being charged as extra. Yeah. You just are sort of given the opportunity to buy less if you want to. And so the buy-in price is lower initially, and so they will get more people to buy the game. Whereas if it was $30 on the eShop, then they don't get as many people buying it.
That is true. For $30 is high for an eShop price.
Yeah,
because they wouldn't be considering it DLC at the time. Another thing I'm thinking of is, while they could have individual DLCs piecemeal, $1 or $2 for this, $1 or $2 for that. If it does end up being more than $10 for everything, they could just have a quote unquote season's pass for $10 to get everything at the cheaper price, which does make it then match the retail price.
Yeah. So hopefully that's what they do. They weren't super clear on their press release, unless we missed something that
I missed it too. I don't think they announced how much DLCs will cost yet. That'll be something for a future update.
Yeah, but anyway, no, I agree. It definitely looks interesting. I'm not as big of a Mega Man fan, I think, as everybody else. I'm not either. Here,
I was when I was a kid, but later Mega Man games, I don't play hard games anymore like I used to. I bought Mega Man 9 and beat one level.
Having said that, though, like I loved the crap out of Shovel Knight, and so if this is on that,
it's one of those things where I got sucked in on the hype.
Yeah,
it's only $20, sure, why not?
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's going to be exciting.
It's not like buying Amiibo or anything.
Oh, touche. Hurt. That's uncalled for. Moving on. Let's talk about just today came a bunch of new information for the Fire Emblem. What is this Fire Emblem If? The latest in the Fire Emblem series. We got a bunch of new information about this, and so I just wanted to read through some of the bullet points here, available on mynintendonews.com. I think they're showing up on NeoGAF as well. So first of all, a couple of differences between the Hoshido, which is kind of like the light version, and the Nor, which is the dark version. The Hoshido has like the regular world map, which I think is pretty similar to Fire Emblem Awakening, whereas Nor has more complex maps. Besides the usual defeat defeat all of the enemies or defeat the general maps, there will also be suppression, breakthroughs, defending bases, turn restrictions, amongst others. There are lots of map gimmicks, which sounds really fun. That sounds great. Both versions of the game contain the same characters. You'll be shown different aspects of their personalities in accordance to the route you select. Next is the downloadable version does not contain both sides, so that's interesting. So basically, one of the questions was, because as we kind of found out after the fact from this direct, is if you buy the physical copy, they're very much going the Pokemon model. It's you're buying the light side or the dark side. There will be 2 copies on the shelf in Japan at least, versus in North America, I don't know if they've said if they're going to do 2 copies or if they're going to follow this model here. I'm not entirely sure. But if you buy the downloadable version, then you do the first 5 missions, and then it sends you to the eShop, basically, and you have to download a patch depending on which side you pick, which I think is a little bit weird. Yeah, it's very weird. It says the second download is free because you've already paid. So the first download is the first 5 missions. That is the download to get you started on this game. Then whatever side you pick, that download is free, but you download it from the eShop, which is a really weird game experience. If you want to try the alternative version, you have to buy the DLC in the same way with that sort of thing would be the same as physical copies. You would buy the second half of the game, and it would download as well. You can directly save to your 3DS system instead of just the cartridge, even if you have the physical copy, which I think is a really nice option. If you decide to buy the DLC, you can load your Chapter 5 data. So at the end of Chapter 5 is where you make your decision, and you can continue from that Chapter 5. You won't have to replay those first 5 levels if you don't want to. As well, you are able to start from the beginning if you want to as well. You'll be able to experience an entire story by only playing one route. The other is a completely different story, which is kind of crazy. So they are really releasing two Fire Emblem games at once, and they're just kind of tied together. The third path is in the middle of Hoshido and Nor in terms of difficulty. So if you beat the light version, then you should be okay to defeat the middle version. I don't think you actually have the choice to defeat the middle version until after you defeat one or the other. But the difficulty will be kind of right there in the middle. And it will be similar to the Pokemon games where you'll be able to street pass somebody regardless of which version they have. And there will be various perks for connecting with players. So lots of interesting... This is such a... I hesitate to criticize this game too much because it seems like they're really trying new things with it. But I like this whole idea of having to, play the first 5 missions and then go and download the rest of your game. Does not sound very fun. Yeah, and I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Like, in general, this whole thing. You still there? Did I lose
I'm
you?
still here.
Okay.
I feel like it's a lot of work. like
like
I'm
for
not
the
gonna
player, you mean, or like for them, or what?
If I feel like as you're reading this and you're explaining to me, I'm like, okay, you lost me somewhere in this. And here's the thing. Like, I mean, this sounds really bad. If you've lost me in this explanation, like, I want a game to be like for me, for consuming games as a parent who's on the go, when I consume games, I have to be able to pick them up, be able to easily consume them because I have like 20 to 30 minutes, put them down, and that's about it. So if I need to be like, am I light or dark? And am I in chapter 5 or 6? Do I have to go to the eShop to get a game? Like, I feel like this is in the threshold of, I'd like to buy a DS. Would you like to buy a new 3DS or a 3DS? Are you in Europe? Are you in Canada? Are you like this just feels like there's a level of complexity and confusion that I'm like, my brain hurts.
Yeah, can you imagine you're like you're in the airport, you're on your way back, you have just recently downloaded the new Fire Emblem game on your 3DS, you're on like mission 5, going into this like however long, like huge long flight. You beat the mission in about half an hour and it says, I'm sorry, you have to download the rest of this game now. It's like, what? Why? Right? That's dumb. So
if I buy this game and if I get to that past the 5th chapter, that would officially be the farthest I've ever gotten into Fire Emblem game. Because the one game I did play, I stopped in the middle of chapter 5.
Yeah, and like from the difficulty, it sounds like Jesse would, if you do get this, you would definitely want to be like the light side. Like it's a little bit easier, it's a little bit more approachable. As far for me, I almost think like
I think I'd get
the different.
Awakening first before even trying this one.
Yeah, you might be able to get it cheaper too, right? So the interesting with the Nor, the dark side here with all the different cool, interesting mission types, I really like that idea, as long as the casual mode is still intact in this version. So in other words, the permadeath, you can turn permadeath off. If you can still turn permadeath off on the dark side version, then that's probably the one that I'll get, but we'll see. I'm not too sure. It seems like a more complex and interesting game. Like some of my favorite levels in Codename Steam were the weird ones where you had to guard something, or you had to destroy this huge robot before it comes and takes over before it reaches your ship and stuff like that, where it was a little bit more complex and not just sweep the map or kill the boss, where it's a little bit more complex than that. And that is really attractive, but we'll see. There's still a lot of information to come out, and I think we're probably going to see this game is coming out in Japan a lot sooner than it's coming out here. So we will definitely see a lot more about this game before it reaches North America. So
I'm sure the localization is going to be a headache.
Yeah, and hopefully they've got 8-4 play. Oh, I just closed our dock. That was good job, Zach. Yeah, so that's kind of, I don't know. Any other thoughts about this? Are you looking forward to it, Justin? Like, have you?
Oh no, not at all. No.
Is Fire Emblem Awakening on your like list of potential games to buy?
It's on my horizon. Like having, it sounds funny, but Codename Steam and the Fire Emblem crew, and then the development team who did Codename Steam have kind of interested me. Like, it sounds bad. If I like Codename Steam, maybe I'll like the Fire Emblem series. So it's kind of like on my horizon.
You're
but
like
I also
totally backwards, by the way.
I know, right? So I'm like, I know it's very like weird reverse engineering of that idea. So it's kind of on my horizon, but it's also one of those like, is this gonna be hard? Like, is this gonna be an RPG that I'm gonna play and then be like, okay, I don't get any of this, or I don't know, am I just being old man Masson? I don't really know.
Actually, you know what? If I feel like if that is your concern with a Fire Emblem game, is that it's going to be too complex, that's not really something that I would worry too much about. It's very much sort of Heroes of Might and Magic sort of deal. I don't know if you ever played that, where you've kind of got like a rock paper scissors style class mechanic that is like swords beat. I think it's swords beat axes, or lances beat swords and axes beat you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And so it's very intuitive and pretty easy to get. The thing that's the most difficult, historically the most difficult part about the Fire Emblem games has always been the permadeath. So you have specific characters, and if they die and you don't restart and try, like if you finish a level after your character has died, historically up until Fire Emblem Awakening, that character was dead forever, right? Like you didn't get them in future levels, which made it a really challenging game. Fire Emblem Awakening introduced what I was talking about before, that casual mode where it's more like Codename Steam, where if your character dies in the level, then the next level you get them again. So, and that's how I played through Fire Emblem Awakening, and I really, really enjoyed that game a whole lot more than I've enjoyed any other Fire Emblem game. So, I wouldn't worry too much about it if that is your concern of it being too complex. It's a lot more of like the, moving characters around and just sort of managing their gear and, that kind of thing. But it's not super complex as far as that goes. The complexity, I think, sometimes comes in the strategy that you end up using in a specific situation to get through a specific level. But again, if that's your concern, then go with the light side instead of the dark side.
Okay,
I think so. Anyway, cool. Finally, we have on here is the Xenoblade Direct. Which kind of came out of nowhere, right? The Xenoblade Chronicles X for Wii U. It's like just under 9 minutes, I believe, for this direct. Did you watch this, Justin?
Yeah, I did. I watched the direct, and then watched a little bit of the Treehouse Live stuff afterwards. And to your point, yeah, Zach, this felt like this really came out of nowhere. right? Like
Yeah.
it felt like we had like 12 hours notice. I was like, really? There's a direct? What?
And it was like 10 minutes long, right? It was hardly even a
Yeah,
direct.
I was like,
It was
that's
like an
called a
extended
commercial.
trailer. Yeah.
And I didn't even know about it until late that night. You know,
I haven't even watched the treehouse thing on it, but I have watched kind of. There was when they had these sort of things for the Japanese. They did, I think, 2 different Xenoblade Chronicles X directs in Japan, and afterwards there were some fans who did like a subtitled version of it. And so I actually, when that came out, I had watched it, and then when I came and looked at this Xenoblade Chronicles X one, it was like, oh well, the English version is basically the same as the Japanese one. They're changing some of the names, they're changing the names of the dolls to skells, which I think it's kind of a good idea. You know, like as much as dolls is an okay thing in Japan, like this sort of anime or whatever. I think that's probably okay, but I don't think it's gonna be appealing to people to be running around in dolls over here. It continues to be a beautiful game, an enormous space, an enormous world. I don't know, Jesse, what impressed you from the trailer that you saw?
honestly, I don't remember much about it. I don't know if it's because I watched it so late at night and I was tired, but yeah, I honestly don't remember anything specific that jumped out at me.
Yeah, it was pretty. I don't know. I kind of liked it, and as I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3D a little bit more, I am getting a little bit more excited about this game. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just again, it's one of those games where it's like, do I really have the time to spend with this game? I just don't know. But I'm excited for people who are excited about it. I know I've said that before in the past, where it's like, I'm excited that you're excited, sort of thing. But
someone's got to be.
Somebody's excited for it. Roger's excited, and I don't know. It looks pretty good. It is beautiful. It hopefully is the sequel worthy of the predecessor and all the praise that's been piled upon that game. I hope that game continues to be good. It is definitely beautiful, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it at E3 as well. That was the other thing that kind of surprised me, is for such a short direct and E3 being so close, I was surprised that they launched this when they did. Maybe it's just because it's coming out before E3 in Japan. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I think it's an interesting approach. I know there were some questions. Like it very much felt like they were really trying to push some hype on this for sure. I know someone approached us on Twitter and said, "Do we think this is going to be the holiday game?" They're really trying to sell this game. Like they're hyping this game. Like for the fact that Splatoon is less than a month away, or just over a month away, and we haven't got a direct on that, but we've got a game that we don't have a release date to, with a 9-minute direct and then like an hour and a half treehouse afterwards. Like it felt very out of place.
Was it really an hour and a half? I didn't realize that.
Pretty long, I'm sure. Like it feels like they're just trying to do some weird positioning of this game. And I mean, it looks like a beautiful game. It looks very pretty. And I've been very tempted by every once in a while thinking about maybe this is, maybe I want to jump into this series, but it just feels like it was positioned very oddly. And it feels like they're trying to maybe gain some stock or some shareholders, or not shareholders, but just gain a little bit more money on this one for sure. So
yeah, just
it felt weird.
Trying to build the hype for it, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the one you want to be hyping right now.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like I think in Japan they're in this weird position where if they hype it in Japan, like that is going to bleed over to North America, and so they want to feed that over here, but it's also quite a ways away over here. So I don't know, we'll see. But very cool. Let's move. Why is my Chrome is like being really dumb lately. That's awesome. All right, let's move on. Do we have anything else here? I'm trying to get to the doc and
I think that's it.
Additions. All right, let's head into what we've been playing.
Do it.
All All right, what we've been playing this week. I have been playing the Mario Kart 8 DLC. Has everybody else got this? Justin, I know you and I on Thursday we played it a little bit. I don't know. It's been pretty fun so far.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was actually sitting there playing with, just playing there at night when the night that it came out, and my wife was just sitting on the couch playing a game on her iPad, and she kind of looked up and was like, "What is this? Like, this is actually really awesome." She played the crap out of Animal Crossing on the 3DS, and like literally probably 200 hours in Animal Crossing on the 3DS.
Oh wow!
And so she like looked up and was
champ.
like, "Yeah." So she like looked up and was like, What is this? Like, this is amazing. This looks so good. The Animal Crossing level in particular, she was really excited about it. So I definitely, and I totally agree. I love the Animal Crossing level and 200. Let's talk for a minute, by the way, about 200cc. Justin, did you play 200cc yet?
I haven't got a chance to yet. I haven't finished off the 150.
Jesse, that's right. Yeah, Jesse, have you played the DLC yet?
No, and I have never been able to play 150 on any Mario Kart.
Okay.
As soon as I unlock 150, I crap out. So even if I tried, I wouldn't be able to unlock 200.
Yeah. So I've played Mario Kart quite a bit. I got most of the trophies. I at least have a trophy. They're not gold for all of them yet at 150. I think to get the gold tires and the gold cart or whatever, you've got to get like 3-star gold trophy on everything on 150 in order to unlock those. I don't have those, but I have played most of them and have like a bronze trophy or something on some of them. So I tried out 200cc, and holy cow, like it totally changes the game to the point where I'm like, I don't even know if I like this. This is so fast. It's almost unbearable. It feels like if you were to get the mastery of it and really learn how to do it, it would be amazing. Similar to how it feels when you really learned how to drift in Mario Kart, and you learn how to get around those corners and just hit it perfectly and get the boosts, when you're drifting and stuff like that. It's really, really fun. I feel like I need to learn that all over again, with 200cc, where you do actually have to, as you're driving, you have to kind of feather that brake, hit the B button and use the brake as you're going around some of those corners. You've got to start turning and doing your drifting way earlier, especially with Baby Park in, one of the new retro stages. You literally have to start turning probably like when you're a third of the track away from the corner still. Like, you're spending probably half of your time drifting in that level, if not more, because of how much you've got to start doing that ahead of the turn, which is really, really fun. But it also, because of the speed of it, if you crash or whatever, then you go from first to like 8th in that fast, right? It's super quick. I really like it, but it's also really frustrating when I'm not doing very well, because it's really quick to fall to the back of the pack.
I don't remember who made this video. It might have been Game Explained, but they did a video showing at one of the tracks that they like a split screen, 4 ways. One was 50, one was 100, one was 150, one was 200, and all running the same 3-lap course. And when the 200 finished, the 50 was barely starting their 3rd lap.
Yeah, it's quite a bit faster, and like to the point too where I was playing 200, and then my son was like, "I want to play," and I was like, "All right, here you go, buddy." Like, gave him the gamepad and like put him on 50cc, and like after a couple of races, I'm like, "Holy crap, this is taking way too long!" like to the point where like, and he like, I made the mistake of putting him in on like a full Grand Prix, thinking, oh, we'll just give him like 4 races. But because those races were taking way longer than they normally would, he lost interest by like the 3rd race. And I was like, well, I'm certainly not doing it this slow, like, quit out. So, but it's definitely fun. Really enjoying that DLC. How about you, Justin? Did you get a chance to play any more after you and I and Dave from Character Crunch played that one night?
I think if I was able to jump on, I think I played another 4 or 5 levels at some point later in the night. Yeah, you know what? It did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was to bring us back to a game that we purchased a year ago and are now talking about and playing it and enjoying it. And I think it's great. The visuals for the levels are just stunning, right? I mean, you think of like
Mm-hmm.
Big Blue. There's so much detail and love to that. I think the Animal Crossing level is fantastic. Um, yeah,
I
there's
feel like
it.
the only level that I'm kind of like, is the cheese level, where it's like, wow,
I
really? Like,
actually
of all the things, like, it's just all orange. It's kind of boring.
yeah, that's
That's
kind of
just me.
boring. I don't mind that one. I don't mind that one. Neo Bowser City is kind of a little bit. I find that one slightly irritating. Um, and I think, excuse me. Oh, sorry, guys. That 1 o'clock is creeping up here. I think that the 7 laps in Baby Park I thought was just a great idea. Like, I'm glad that
It's so
wasn't a
fun.
3. It had to be 7. So
I
I think
love
it's
that level.
fantastic. Really well done. And like I said, I mean, and of course Thursday night everyone was on. It dropped on Thursday morning or afternoonish, and Thursday night everyone was on trying to play, and yeah, so it was great.
Totally. I also have been playing. This isn't a Nintendo game, but I have been playing it so much lately, and it's similar to. It's kind of related because it's done by DNA. I've been playing a ton of the iPhone game called Marvel Mighty Heroes, I think it's called. I don't know if you guys have seen this game. I just want to talk about it for a second. Again, because it is DNA, it is this really weird online brawler sort of game where you basically have, you play as Captain America or whatever, and it's the kind of game where every 24 hours you get to go in and have this draw to get, to see if you can get another hero. Your heroes have stats. You have a chance of winning different heroes based on their or rarer heroes have higher stats. And the thing that's interesting about this game that has made it so addictive to me is that every week the leaderboard resets, and the higher you are on the leaderboard, the more rewards you get when that reset happens. So it's this sort of weird arms race where you're playing against everybody else who's playing the game. The other thing that's interesting is that the way that you gain points on the leaderboard, it's not like a single session, like a single game. I guess I should kind of describe the gameplay. So the gameplay is a 4-player sort of arena style mission, and there's 3 different types of missions. There's like a defend the whatever it is, like canisters or something. There's enemies that are trying to destroy the canisters. You've got to defend them for like a minute and a half, and all of the matches are only ever like a minute and a half. But so they're defend or survive for a minute and a half, or kill the boss in a minute and a half. And the way that you gain points that then go onto the week's leaderboard is who got the most damage during that match. So you can imagine this sort of, and the people who get higher up the leaderboard get better characters. And so I'm noticing in like the 3 weeks or so that I've been playing it pretty consistently now. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, it feels like, in this game, and they've got to do something about it. But obviously the issue as well being, oh well, you can just buy more draws for these characters, and if you buy a bunch of them at once, then the probability that you get a high ranking character is much higher. And so a couple of days ago they actually had a thing where they were like, don't worry, you can spend $25 today to get a really good Rocket Raccoon, and it's a 1-day only thing. Go. And it's just like, really? Like, that's dumb. But for some reason it keeps pulling me back in, and I've got some pretty decent characters right now. They're 3 stars out of 5. My characters are. But it's fun enough, the characters are fun to play as, and it's been pretty enjoyable so far. The reason I bring it up is because of DNA. I just hope that this pay structure of, nobody wants to spend $25 on the App Store for a mobile game, but the way this game in particular is structured, it would be very easy to spend much more than that on this game too. So hopefully Nintendo does not take a cue from DNA on that aspect of it.
Sounds a lot
You're-
like the Knights and Dragons that I've been playing off and on, or on the iPad. I never talked about it on the show just because it's not Nintendo. But this you got the same thing going on there. Weekly leaderboards where the winners get good, better stuff that no one else can get unless they buy it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So hopefully, I don't know. It's still fun. If it's on iOS, I think it's on Android, and it's DNA. So Nintendo's new best friend. So anyway, Justin, what have you been playing this week? More Codename Steam?
Yeah, so I've been playing a bit of Mario Kart 8, and I've been traveling, obviously, as well. But what I did decide to do, and I'm just going to really kind of talk about Codename Steam, is Codename Steam had the update recently where you have the ability to fast forward the alien movement, and I wanted to kind of see what the impact or how that affected the game, because I know this was a big kind of hurdle for a lot of people. And I'm just kind of here to report that I think it went really, really well. So in the alien movement now, when there is an opportunity for them to move on the bottom screen, there is a kind of tab that you select, and it basically, as I recall, is like the two arrows, which is a universal sign for fast forward, and you literally watch them on the screen, and it's as if they are fast forwarding like an old Betamax tape or an old beta tape that you'd have as a kid, and like those kind of squiggly lines come through sometimes,
Yeah.
and the movement is done in a matter of moments. And I thought that was a really cool and innovative kind of way. They had a very much of that kind of that steam or that kind of steampunk feel to the movement as well. So I thought it was a really smart update that they did. So if it's something that was holding you back or that you had some concerns about, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Mm-hmm. I almost like found myself wishing, wow, I wish they would have provided like maybe like a slightly slower version. It's not like on the regular 3DS it's like twice as fast. On the new 3DS it's like 3 times as fast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I really wish it was only 2 times as fast because I have no idea what just happened. And the speed the speed, I beat the whole game before the patch came out. So
Right.
obviously that didn't bother me. I kind of liked the enemy turns because you would kind of get to watch them, and I would usually play pretty defensively and use a lot of Overwatch. So almost, probably like every other turn, I was using Overwatch attacks anyways, and that was usually a big part of my strategy. And so I was never really bothered by the enemy turns in general. But I guess for those of you who were or thought you would be, that's for you, and that's pretty exciting. So how far are you now? Are you getting a little bit further on?
I am on, I think, level 5-2, I think. I just had a new person who entered my team, who has the penguins.
Oh yeah, okay. Like what's his name? Shoot.
I don't remember, but it feels
Queequeg.
it feels very kind of like native Maori New Zealand kind of character. And he has very that kind of like body art as well.
Yeah, he's I think he's like from Moby Dick. He was like Captain Ahab's like first mate or something like that.
Yeah, so I actually did kind of find it funny. The mission that I was currently on was I had to go to Boston. Like that was in the actual
Nice.
story, and I was like, okay, that's kind of ironic.
Right on.
So yeah, but no, it's good. Still loving it. Still, it's a great game.
Awesome. Right on. How about, and do you want to talk about Azure Striker Gunvolt for a minute or no?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I started kind of playing that as well. On my connection flight from Montreal to Boston. I've played it for about an hour. I've talked about, this is a game that I talked about a little bit before. There was 2 versions of it. There's the Striker Gunvolt, and then there's a kind of like an 8-bit version of it. And I wanted to kind of talk about it basically because we're talking about Mighty Number 9 as well. It has very much of a Mega Man feel.
I think they called that Mighty Gunvolt.
Yeah, Mighty Gunvolt, exactly. So this is if you're into the Mega Man series or you're looking forward to Mighty Number 9, this is a great kind of, it's a 2D platforming game where it's very heavy influenced by anime and that kind of that style, that art style. And it starts off with you kind of being an agent of an organization and kind of decide to go rogue because you're trying to, spoiler alert, trying to help out someone that you find, and then you're kind of actually being subcontracted by them. And it's a very interesting game. The actual like targeting and firing is kind of, it's not your typical like B and it's a blaster. So what you do is you shoot your gun, and your gun creates like if you hit your target, your enemy, it kind of creates like the crosshairs of a target, and then you use your special power, your striker power, which is lightning, and then all of a sudden like lightning comes out of the sky and from around you and strikes your character that way. So it's this interesting premise of you kind of have to tag your enemy first and then kill it with this superpower that you have, and you can't really kill them just by tagging them. So it's this two-step process, which makes it very interesting for the game. So at times I feel like it's, okay, well, I've tagged you, and now I've just got to use my lightning and then just jump around and avoid, not getting killed. But at the same time, you can't just use your lightning consistently. You need to, like, you can't just hold it. It eventually runs out, so you kind of have to recharge it and replenish it. And it's just kind of this very interesting management of your energy versus an enemy's movement, and it's very cool. It's very cool. I definitely recommend checking it out.
Very cool. Jesse, what have you been playing this week?
So I tried playing more Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Last week I got stuck in like the first cave, where at the other end of the cave was like their fuel repository for their machines or their tanks or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And there's like the two robots there that show up, right?
Yeah. So I finally got past that, and now we got back to the colony and then the Mechon attack started with the Mechon with the face, and that's
right. Yeah.
That's pretty much as far as I got. I haven't gotten further than that. It's just that game isn't clicking for me like I was hoping it would.
Yeah, I've kind of heard,
and it's clicking even less than the Wii version did. At least I got like 6 or 8 hours in the Wii version. Here I'm not even up to 3 yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like, I don't know. I kind of have a problem with games that people are like, oh, don't worry. Once you get like 8 hours in, then it really picks up and it's amazing. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, there's so much tutorializing and like I've gotten far enough now where you learn, and it kind of piecemeal teaches you all of the different mechanics, and I'm kind of getting sick of being taught new things and it becoming even more complex. Like, I've gotten to the point now where not only are you doing chain attacks and you're doing all of these things and it's all live and you got to worry about aggro, like all of a sudden I've gotten to this part where you now have visions as well. So not only do you have to worry about what's going on in the present, but suddenly in the middle of a battle it will flash and it will show you something that's going to happen. And so you also need to then run to your teammate and push a button in order to prevent that from happening, and stuff like that. And so it's really, really kind of a complicated battle system. And once it clicks, apparently, from what I've heard, once it clicks, it's amazing. But it is definitely, the learning curve is pretty steep on this game. Yeah, for sure. So.
Yeah. Then I also I picked up Affordable Space Adventures. And
nice.
I listened to James Jones's talk about the game on his last NW RFN, and if I heard him talk before I bought it, I probably wouldn't have bought it because it sounds.
Oh, really?
It sounds like later on in the game is exactly what I don't like in games, and right now I'm stuck on level 9. It's just the first level that has like 3 or 4 laser beams that you have to traverse, and that ship, even with the basic stabilizers that you just got in the previous level, is so floaty. It's a pain.
Yeah, I kind of brought it up last week when we had Per Schneider on the show from IGN. Go and check it out, everybody. By the way, last week's episode was awesome. For all of you new listeners, welcome, et cetera, et cetera. But I brought up the game Subterranea for the Genesis. Have either of you played that game?
No.
It was kind of a similar sort of the idea where you're a spaceship and you would kind of, honestly, some of the mechanics were, you were fighting gravity, and the idea was that you would find people to rescue in a particular in a particular level, and you would pick them up and you would go and fly your spaceship through this sort of maze, and you would land them on the rescue pad, and then they would be saved. But it was very much a sort of, you float around and then you shoot and things like that. It sounds, I really do kind of want to play this, but I mean, $25 Canadian is a pretty hefty price to pay for something where when I've got, when we've got Splatoon coming up and all those other things as well, like I'm kind of not feeling, I don't know. I really did enjoy Subterranea at the time, but it was, and I mean, for the time as well, it had really great graphics too, by the way. But it was, I don't know. It definitely, so you're kind of thinking like thumbs up, thumbs down, Jesse?
Not for me.
Nah. Okay.
Nah.
Cool. That's too bad.
And then the other thing that I've been messing with today is the exciting game of Sony tech support.
Oh. Okay.
So, I don't know if anyone's has been following me on Twitter. I've been talking about upgrading my hard drives on both my PS3 and my PS4 to 2 terabyte drives. And so when I got to the point of yesterday, I backed up my PS4, got the new hard drive in, figured out which version of the OS I needed to reinstall. Apparently, my first download was only the incremental update from the previous version, so I had to find the larger 800 meg full version to get the base OS reinstalled and then restore my backup. So as of last night, everything was working fine. Today, I get to my PS4 and I'm getting no video.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm able to get it into safe mode, but as soon as I choose any other options, everything goes blank. So I had to I put the 500 gig hard drive back in, and I'm going to get that prepared to ship off to Sony for them to look at it, hopefully fix it and not lose any data. Because I already deleted the backup from my external hard drive because I needed to make room for backing up the PS3 so I can do that update, which caused kind of its own set of problems. The PS3 being a device from 2006 is a USB 2.0 device, doesn't play well with 3.0, so I had to get a 2.0 hard drive in it for it to be recognized. And the only one I remembered that I had was only 250 gigs, so I couldn't use it to back up my 500 gig hard drive. And then I remembered that my soft-mounted Wii has the same problem. It's a 2.0 device, and it has a hard time with 3.0s. So I borrowed my Wii's hard drive to copy my PS3 backup. Which I started at 10 a.m. and it says it has 9 minutes left. So it's taken over 14 hours to do the backup.
Wow. That is insane, man. I hate that, dude. So
then on top of that, I decided I wanted to pre-order some games. So my son is all into the Call of Duty, so he goes, I want the Black Ops.
The Call of Duty. Nice.
The Call of Duty singular, yes.
Okay.
So Black Ops 3 got announced last week that for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, that if you pre-order it, you can get in on a beta before launch. So I decided to I swung the pre-order on that. And he's big on the DLC, so getting my money's worth out of getting the season's pass works, for on a Call of Duty game for him. The way they do it, it's the base game is $60, and if you want the season's pass on top of that, it's $50.
Oh, I heard about. Is this? I mean, this is like that Batman, man.
Yeah. But then
Batman,
they also have a premium edition, which is the game and the season pass for $100. So
Mm-hmm.
$10 off if you do it that way. So I did the same thing with Advanced Warfare last year, so I did that this year. So now here's where things gets funny. So I deposited $150 into my PSN wallet, which is the most it'll let me do.
Mm-hmm.
Then I bought the $100 game, leaving $50 left. Then I wanted to pre-order the Batman one with the DLC, which had
Yeah,
which has two issues with it now. The first issue is it's advertised as 10% off, but it was still charging me $100. So I didn't pull the trigger on it to actually buy it at the time. So I went back to, but before I even noticed it, I did click the finalize order button, and it said it wouldn't go through, expecting the $50 from my wallet to be used plus going back to my credit card that I have on file for the rest, and it said it wouldn't go. So I'm like, well, that's weird. So I go back, I click my wallet button, and it still says I have $150 in it, so I can't deposit anymore. So it was like some delay.
Oh, weird.
And I think it might have been a maximum per day. Anyway,
Like, just let me buy your dang games.
Right. So what I still couldn't even get money in from that same account. I had to get money into my wallet from a different checking account in order for it to work. And now that I got $100 back into my wallet again, and then I went back to the Batman pre-order, and now it's actually giving me the 10% off that it's advertising. So I did the pre-order for $90. So I pre-ordered two Sony games, two games for my PS4 that is currently not even working. I have to ship it off to Sony to get fixed.
Wow.
And then
you are a man who believes in this, because honestly, I feel like I don't know, with the number of games that come out busted, especially for those systems lately, and your PS4 being busted, that is a substantial.
I am riding a lot of faith on this. Yeah. And then I also pulled the pre-order on Splatoon through the Nintendo website.
Oh, how was that? Like, was that a decent process?
So far, I think it'll be kind of weird at the end. At least with the Sony pre-orders, they took my money now, so they have my money. I just have to wait for a release to get the games. I think the way Nintendo's working is they have my financial information to charge me on when it does release, but they haven't charged me yet. They probably won't until end of May.
Right.
Then I think within 72 hours before launch, they will email me an eShop code to redeem the game.
Cool.
So that's weird. I gave you my Nintendo Network ID. Why can't you? Excuse me. Excuse me. Why can't you just slap it on my account?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So
totally.
They're still learning too. So
that's okay.
I've had more excitement with non-gaming than I have gaming this week.
Indeed. Right on. Well, good luck with that, sir. And I think we gotta. Yeah, right on.
After after the show, I get to upgrade my hard drive on the PS3 and then start that restore.
Good luck with that, man. Let's head to the listener mail. All right, listener mail time is here. The postman. Sorry, I keep calling it listener mail. I think that's what my file is labeled as for the bumper. But the postman was here. He ran off. He left us two wonderful things. First off, we have a message from Vinny Bravio, aka Doctor_Meow, Doctor_Blah on Twitter. It says,
I like how you pronounce the underscores.
Yeah. So his question is, we constantly look forward to all the new games coming, but how many Wii U or 3DS games have you completed to your standards? I feel I have a huge library of Wii U games that I need to actually play before I should be thinking of E3, etc. So this kind of asks an interesting question that is kind of underneath this question. which is, and he kind of says, how many of you completed to your standards? And I think like the question is, well, what are our standards? Do you feel like you need to complete a game in order to have gotten your money's worth? And also, how many games have you actually completed? Justin, let's start with you, man. How many games have you completed on your 3DS or Wii U?
Well, my 3DS, I'd probably say 3 or 4. That's not my new 3DS, but just kind of my life cycle of my DS as well. My Wii and Wii U, and I'll kind of bundle those together. I think probably about 3 or 4 as well. But I think this is an interesting question, but like to your standard, when I think of like games that I've recently purchased, I think of Mario Party 10. I think of Captain Toad. Those are games that I play, more with my family together. So, it's not a race necessarily for me to finish them or to complete them, but it's a joint effort that I'm making with my kids. So that has changed the scope of how I look at completing games. And if you even think of something like a Super Smash Brothers or Mario Kart 8, those are games that, is there ever a completion? Well, I guess if you get all the stars and, for something like Mario Kart, but I think it really harkens back to the value of a game and what you feel you're getting out of it. And I feel like, games like that where you pay, $40, $50, $60, but I'm continually going back to them and playing them, the value of the, the completion perhaps is not there, but the value of the entertainment and the joy and the fun that I'm having with it is there as well. Now, that being said, there are games that I have in what I would call, and I think this is a point he's making, in my gaming queue that I need to go tackle still. Right, that I think of, for example, Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 that I have for the Wii U that I haven't played yet, but I picked up because they're in cheap sale. Like I was like, oh my gosh, those are games I really do want to play. They're for $20. I'll pick them up and put them in my queue, and I just haven't dove into them because there are other games like Wind Waker or A Link Between Worlds or even A Link to the Past that are also taking my time. And I think that I especially find as a parent how I consume games and what games I consume fundamentally has changed over the last, 5, 10 years of playing games where, for example, when my daughter was first born, I used to, I think I've told the story before, Friday nights was my game time. So both Rylan, my oldest daughter, would fall asleep, and my wife would fall asleep usually at 11, and I'd get up and I'd game from like 11 to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It'd be like 4 hours straight. So I'd be playing, games that were, long adventure games and really digging into it. But now as a parent who doesn't have as much time to play long adventure games or, I'm more drawn to something like a Box Boy where I can literally pick it up, play for 5 minutes, and be done a couple levels and feel like I've completed something because I don't have that amount of time. But there are games that have these story arcs that, although I'm not completing them, I want to complete them because there's a story that's being told that the artist and the creators and designers and directors have put in that there's so much love and care to that I feel like I want to complete them. And sometimes I think, and sometimes it's also interesting in that in some cases there are games that I don't want to complete right away. Because they're so good. Because as a story or a game begins to wrap up, that your time with it, so to say, is limited. You've only maybe got 2 or 3 hours left before this wonderful world that you're consumed in begins to dissolve. And I think sometimes I think in games, and we see in a lot of these, when a Call of Duty is released or whatever, everyone's like, oh, this weekend I was at home for 9 hours and I finished the game and I'm at 95 or 100% and I have all these stars and blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like that idea of going to a restaurant and swallowing all your food in one bite. Or totally. do you take your time and you consume it and you enjoy it and you savor those moments? And I feel like sometimes with video gaming, because the time that I get to actually just fall into a game of like 3 or 4 hours of undedicated just dad time of playing what I want to play, when those moments come that are so rare, I don't want to feel rushed through something. I want to feel like I'm very much enjoying it. And also sometimes, and to the smorgasbord of it, like you get to finally come to a point where you're like, which of these games do I want to play? What am I in the mood for some Batman, or do I want to play some Mario 3D or Wind Waker, or maybe I just feel like shutting my brain off and I'm gonna go back to playing some more Smash and some more Mario Kart. So I used to very much be a completion of like, yeah, I finished this game and here's my notch on my belt, so to say, of how awesome I am. But I don't necessarily measure game success or my success in gaming in those degrees anymore, but rather the enjoyment that I have out of it. Right, like I'm not going to burn time on a game I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. I think in relation to even like what we do here on Nintendo Dads, we pick up games in the eShop that sometimes we don't, we're not professional video game players. This isn't our job, but we want to deliver content to you, the listeners, about our opinions about games that we've only maybe had 3 hours on or our thoughts, but we can give you our initial impressions. And sometimes it's, I picked up this game, I played it for 3 or 4 hours, and that may be the very end I play of it. But because something else is and I mean, that's also the kind of like the, oh, look, something new and shiny. And this is the point that he's really making, is that we know with E3 on the horizon, right, we're always talking about the next new games on our edge to play. But I mean, I think these are great examples of times where products are being created that are consumable, that we enjoy, and that have great stories. So I know it's a huge ramble, but
no, yeah, I totally agree. I feel like to add to what you were saying too, like I don't feel like I need to complete a game in order to have gotten, my money's worth. And as I kind of going to what you were saying too, with as I've become a parent, my purchasing my playing decisions have kind of changed, and also my purchasing decisions have changed as well, where I am a little bit more discerning, although it might not seem like it. Sometimes I buy a game I end up not being that interested in, but I feel like I'm a lot more discerning with the types of games that I buy, which is frankly why I only have a Wii U and a 3DS, and that is where I play the majority of my games, because games come out on a regular enough basis that I'm interested in playing, that I can feel like perfect. There's this new game, I'm going to play that, and then I'll be done with it. And I won't necessarily need to. It's not necessarily the did I finish the game, yes or no, but did I get a sufficient enough experience with that I have made a decision whether or not I want to continue, right? And if something loses my interest, then I kind of take a mental note of, well, next time I probably won't get that kind of game, right?
Yeah.
And so that's more where I feel, because the majority of the games that are on my 3DS in particular, I'm just thinking about, Codename. I beat Codename Steam. I beat Fire Emblem Awakening. I played over 200 hours of Animal Crossing. I played over 100 hours of the 3DS version of Smash Brothers. I played probably 40 hours of Tamagotchi Life. And every once in a while, though, I'm looking at like the games that I've purchased, and the most recent Pokemon game, I didn't play as much as I probably should have, or not that. See, and that's the thing, is that you feel like, oh, well, I have this game, I should have played more of it, I should have finished it, and I feel I don't feel like I need to. If I wasn't enjoying it, then why would I finish? I'm just going to make a mental note. Maybe I won't get the next one.
And I think it's sometimes a funny little bit of a math equation. So sometimes when you think about it, and this is one of the things that you were talking about here, Zach, is you say like I put okay. So how many hours do you put in Tamagotchi Life?
Tamagotchi was like 40 hours probably.
Okay, so how much did you pay for the game?
Like $35, I think.
Okay, so you have less than $1 per hour of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Right. So when I go to a movie right now, so we're gonna go see Avengers 2 this weekend, hopefully at some point, and I am paying $10 for 2 hours of entertainment.
It's like 2.5 hours
or 2.5, right? So like you are pay. So you begin to like equate your hours of time in that math, and you're like, this is equivalent to would you go see a movie? Yeah, I'd go see a movie. Do you sometimes pick a cruddy movie? Yeah, sometimes pick a cruddy movie, right? But do you sit through the entire thing? Yeah, sometimes I leave, right? Like it all depends on what it is. So I think that's one of the ways that I kind of start doing it. And to your point, like if you're not having fun anymore, you're not going to do it, right? But I also like the statement he has of here, like completed to your standards, and I think that's interesting, right? There used to be statements of like, did you complete the final boss? Well, that's completing the game. Now it's, did you get 100% and unlock all the secret things? Well, listen, I don't have the time in my day.
Unless it is unless we're talking about like the Lego Marvel game where my son insisted until we unlocked every single character in that game, he insisted, Dad, let's sit down and play this game. Dad, let's play this. Dad, we haven't unlocked Stan Lee yet. Dad, we haven't unlocked Deadpool yet. Like,
Yeah.
and he's like just sitting there waiting to unlock all of these characters, and like, but again, that was just as much about spending time with my son as it was playing this game.
Well, that's
Right?
exactly it. Like Mario Party is a great example of that. The game costs $60. So my wife, my two daughters, and I have sat around and we have probably played the game collectively for probably 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
But that's
so
15 hours of entertainment now.
That's 15 hours of entertainment broken down into the cost. So it's like $4, it just, you can't really, and is it completed? No. Are we going to go back to it a couple times? Yeah, probably, right? But to my point, for me, it's more about the fun factor in gaming, and that's what I think gaming is sometimes losing. Is it fun? Am I enjoying it? Right? Like,
Yeah, like
I said to your comment earlier, when you talked about Fire Emblem, I'm like, that doesn't sound like fun to me. That sounds like a lot of work, and if it's a lot of work, like it sounds bad. If it's a lot of work, I'm not going to have fun with it. But it's like I do a lot of work in 9 to 5, 40 hours a week. I want a game that's escapism, that's fun, that makes me smile, that challenges me every once in a while, and has a good story, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finish very few games lately, and even the games I don't finish, sometimes I feel like I got my money's worth. I'm satisfied with it. Persona Q is a good one. I think that that's a $50 game, I believe, and I got halfway through or so, or deep into the third dungeon with 45 or 50 hours, and I got stuck at that point, but I'm happy with my progress, and I'm satisfied with the game. There's obviously games that I paid, like I talked about Watch Dogs. I paid $60 for it. In fact, I might have even paid for prepaid DLC. I don't remember. My son and I both hated it, and we both put 5 minutes in each, or 15 minutes in each, and haven't gone back to it. So that was a money down the drain situation.
Yeah, and it seems
even some of the Nintendo games, Treasure Tracker, I've never really gotten back to it to play Chapter 2, and Shovel Knight, I haven't gotten back to the 4th level. So I've started playing all these games that I've enjoyed, but still stopped playing for some one reason or another. So I'm not dissatisfied by any of them. I just haven't gotten around to going back to it. Then there's other games, like Layton games and Ace Attorney games, I'll play through the end, just because the stories are crazy and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember on the DS they had re-releases of Dragon Quests 4, 5, and 6. And I played them all and beat them all, but then last year I played through 5. Earlier this year I played through 4. Got to the final boss, but couldn't beat it. But I'm still happy. I enjoyed my time with that game. So just because I don't beat it doesn't mean I didn't. That I don't think it was a waste of time. I'm still enjoying myself.
Very cool. Yeah, I honestly I feel like for Vinny and for anybody else, kind of in the same sort of situation, I would say the steps for a recovering backlog person are you need to. I would challenge you to like look at your backlog. If there's something there that you're like, oh, I really should play through this game, but I don't really want to, or I can't, or something. Like, don't feel like you have to. Just don't play it. You don't have to play it. Just because you spent money on it doesn't mean that you've already, that crappy game has already robbed you of your money. Don't let it rob you of your time as well.
Well, just think about what I said earlier about Xenoblade. I paid the $40 for it. In 3 weeks, squeezed in 3 hours, and exactly. I'm probably not going to get any more in there because I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah, and if you are enjoying a game and it's just on your backlog, but you enjoy it, that's fine. Play through it. But and if you feel like the game that you're playing, some of the games in your backlog, like you would rather play those than spend money to play new games, then that's fine. Then those games will be there when you have had your fill of the games that you like.
We were talking backlog a little bit during pre-show, and I said that most of my backlog are old games that I've played before and want to play again, like a bunch of PS2 games, Dragon Quest VIII, Final Fantasy 12, and both Wii Zelda games I want to replay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the interesting thing about backlogs, and I think especially what I would call like digital backlogs, as opposed to like a physical backlog.
Who keeps making that beeping noise? By the way?
That's me. My work laptop is still logged in, and
Nice.
at midnight 15, several boxes recycle themselves,
Awesome.
which causes alerts to go off. I'll shut that off.
Okay.
So like the physical backlog, it's tough, right? Because you can see that. You can see you're like, oh, I haven't got into that game. I haven't done that.
And if you didn't like it, it's like, oh well, at least you can take it to the freaking you can take it to GameStop and at least get
something back
$2
for it, right?
or something.
But then like the digital one is interesting because like the digital, we're seeing more and more the ability to take that content with you. So you may have purchased it and you're like, oh, I just haven't played it yet. I haven't got into it. Well, the nice part is that maybe you're not into it right now, but maybe in 6 months you're going to be, right? And it's going to be like, that's really what I want to jump into and play. And I think that more and more as we're hoping accounts become more merged and what you digitally own you actually own. Knowing the fact that you can possibly maybe be taking that with you where you go, onto whatever device you go from a Nintendo perspective, will be nice to think of like, yeah, you know what, it's there, but it's there because it's a collection of a game, right? Like I've picked up games on the eShop that I haven't played yet because I was like, oh, you know what, this is on sale. I've been wanting to pick it up for a while. It's on sale. I'm going to grab it now, and I'm going to play with it when it comes. When I have some more free time. But I know that this has some really high reviews. This is something I would definitely like.
If you PC games, Steam sales are the worst.
Oh, dude, I have such a huge Steam backlog. I have spent.
Here's a bundle for $20. You get 7 games that are worth $300. Sure, I'll buy it. I'll never play them, but I'll buy them.
Yeah, I've got probably 100 games on Steam that I'll never play. But don't worry. I think most of them I got them on a Humble Bundle, so at least it was for a good cause and whatever. But,
yeah. And at least with Humble Bundle, you can be a cheapskate and say $2.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good question, though, Vinny. Good question.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, moving on here, we have a review in the German's iTunes store from Von. Pardon me if I mispronounce it. Von Neuben, or this is Das Nubi on Twitter. This is he says Nintendo dads are a team of Nintendo fans who also happen to be parents. The podcast is mainly localized to U.S. and Canada, but listeners from Europe, like me, and other countries can also easily enjoy the episodes packed with information about all things Nintendo. The guys stream their podcast weekly. Thanks for your work and efforts, Nintendo dads. Keep the episodes coming. Greetings from Berlin. So thank you, Das Nubi, for your awesome review on iTunes. And, of course, if you listeners out there would like to help our show, that is really probably the number one way that you can help the show is to leave a review on iTunes, and that again that'll help us get as many new listeners. So head over there. As well, you can join us on Twitter. You can follow us at Nintendo Dads. You can like us on Facebook, Instagram at Nintendo Dads as well. You can email us nintendodads@gmail.com. Twitch.tv/Nintendo Dads. You can call in and leave us a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS, 929-256-3237. Wake up old Winifred over at the phone lines and give her a little bit of a message there. She needs to earn her wage.
Winifred?
Yes, that is the official name of our voicemail
secretary.
Hag.
Apparently,
yes.
Winifred has a very deep voice.
Yes. Well, I mean, a life of
Smoking.
Of smoking and just general poor health.
Yeah.
You know how it is. She's got a thyroid thing. The big thanks to ocremix.org for our music, both the intro and outro music. And thank you to Carter Johnson for our amazing artwork. You can check out her blog at megacarter.tumblr.com. And once again, head over to iTunes, Stitcher, and VGTribute.com to get the most recent episodes and subscribe to the show. I also want to say, on a whim this weekend, I started another podcast. I don't know if you guys, if I've spoken to you guys even about this since then.
I just saw your survey. I didn't see anything else about it.
Yeah, no. So I actually started it. I started a new podcast, and it's not going to be on iTunes for a few weeks. I'm going to take a really similar approach to what we did with this show and kind of go beta for a few weeks before we launch on iTunes. But it's called Totally Mental. You can find it at ZachErickson.com. That's ZACERICKSON.com.
I
And
love the
it's
name.
a show kind of about mental health and self-improvement and stuff like that. And so you can I'm definitely just kind of winging it. I figured, you know what, I've thought about doing this show for a long time, and eventually I'm going to be, in the fall I'm going back to get a counseling psychology degree. So it's going to be kind of casual and just kind of, talk about topics as they come up. But I'm excited about it. So go over there, check it out, and give me your feedback. It will kind of make it into whatever kind of a show people want it to be. So yeah, that's just about it from me. Any other words from you boys as we head out tonight?
My kids tomorrow night have an orchestra concert where they will be playing video game music, including Final Fantasy VII and Link to the Past, and I'll try to get some recordings and probably get them on YouTube.
That sounds awesome.
We can share them on our feeds.
Right on.
Very cool.
How about you, Justin? How are you doing? You just gonna be busting it up?
Yeah, I'm flying home back to my family on late Friday night. It's gonna be red eye, and I'll be getting back to Lethbridge at about 1 a.m. So I'm very excited to see my kids and been FaceTiming with them. So missing the whole family, but that's kind of the way it works here.
Right on, man. And of course, next week I'm sure we're probably at some point going to have a Avengers talk. Avengers: Age of Ultron comes out tomorrow here, so we're gonna be heading out, and you could look for that. So, anyways, super long outro here apparently, but thanks for listening, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. I am so going to bed.
Nice.
Yeah, I know how I normally feel.
Oh my god. It's 1:30. I gotta get up in 5 hours to go to class. Oh.
That's so funny.